So I went to the gas station earlier, and as I'm walking back, I have three drinks for my family and I, and then I have two like little sodas for my siblings, and then I have two bottles of water for me because I don't want to fucking dehydrate, I guess. I don't know. Why else would I have water? I don't know, dude. Don't judge me. And I got a thing of peach rings because I've been craving like peach lately. And that was the only really peachy thing they had there, which was weird because they were out of the peach tea they usually have and they just didn't have it and I was so upset. Anyway, so I'm walking back and I'm almost home. I'm like literally maybe 3 minutes walk from my house, right? And all of a sudden I hear a loud like tire screech. Like you know how like if they're going too fast and they kind of slide, the tire screeches. Yeah, I heard that, and it sounded like it was right behind me. So I like turn around to make sure I'm not about to get hit, right? And I turn around long enough, but I continue walking, and I fucking biff it. I just fall flat on my fucking face. Managed to save my mom and my dad's drinks, but end up kind of my siblings' drinks both fly. Don't know where they ended up. Didn't find them. Saved my well, two of my waters. The third one also disappeared. And saved my peach rings, but I had to call my dad to come get me because I was not able to walk with the rest. So yeah, now my knee kind of hurts. But like, when does it not hurt? Uh, Trigger warnings for this chapter. There's fighting. I think I saw uh as I was like skimming through it. Flashbacks, PTSD, possibly Endeavor mentions I saw Shoda's name in here. Uh, the next one, May, lots of May. I think it's a May centric. Oh, ooh, and we get a League of Villains. So yeah, that's the trigger warnings for this one. Okay, Oracle Week, Chapter 9. One kiss, bad for me. Izuku strolled into the warehouse confidently, where several people were loading cases into a truck. It took all of Izuku's self-control not to beat the shit out of everyone here, but he was close. As he walked closer to the middle, several guns loaded and were pointed at him. A tall, strong man wearing a white mask with crystals coming out of his body walked up to him. "You're Oracle. What are you doing here?" Izuku recognized him as someone from the 8 Bullets of the Shy Hokage. He slowly put his hands in the air. "What does it look like? I got an anonymous tip and wanted to grab some trigger. Shit's useful for my quirk." The man stared at him for a moment before raising his hand. All the guns pointed at him simultaneously went down, and Izuku internally sighed. Step 1 was a success. "So, can I buy some?" "Before we sell it, we need to vet your quirk. Make sure nothing bad will happen when you take it." The crystal man led Izuku to the side of a truck and he patted it twice. It drove off, quickly speeding beneath the underpass the heroes were waiting on. "Could you tell us your quirk so we can—" They were interrupted by a loud crash and everyone looked at the truck that was being held up by the dump. They were interrupted by a loud crash and everyone looked at the truck that was being held up by the bumper by death arms. Most people screamed and ran mindlessly. Some hid and fair few, including the crystal dude and his lackeys, ran into a long corridor. Izuku chased down the ones going down the hall and a few pros cleared out the main warehouse. The crystal man looking behind him and upon seeing Izuku threw one of his underlings at the boy. Izuku tripped over the man who was laying on the floor. "I knew something was up, you vigilante piece of shit," Crystal Man shouted behind his back. Izuku swore and launched a hook towards the man, latching onto one of his underlings who stayed back to fight him. Izuku flung forward, dodging the left hook and tripping the man. He pinned the man down, stabbed him in the hand for good measure, and shot another hook after Crystal's. It wrapped around his arm and he skidded to a stop. As Izuku flew towards him and flipped crystals over his shoulder, the man rolled out of the slam and threw a punch at Izuku. Izuku dodged backwards, but crystals shot out of the man's fist and hit him hard in the ribs. He sprinted down the hall and Izuku close in pursuit. Mimic. Emergency extract, the man shouted into his mask. Izuku launched his hook out again, wrapping around the man's neck and pulling him to the ground. He punched Izuku in the jaw, damaging the mask he was wearing and giving him a bloody nose. Ectoplasm rushed past him along with the two clones, and he knelt. Ectoplasm rushed past him along with the two clones and knelt but down by the man. Izuku started to tie him up with a zip tie. You Hajo, you're under arrest for dealing sugar and working for the Shai Hisakai. Ectoplasm's clone was securing the zip tie next to Izuku. As moonlight shone down on them, suddenly it caught off. Izuku looked up to the window and two intense eyes staring back at him from the outside of the window. The person outside suddenly disappeared, and Izuku dove back away from the man just as he kicked off. The floor opened up into a large hole, dropping the man and one of Ectoplasm's claw through 5 feet of pure concrete into an underground tunnel. Just as abruptly as it had opened, it was closed. Izuku stumbled to the floor, heart racing as a gunshot was heard from beneath them. My clone is dead, Eraser. Oracle was able to get out in time, but he was hit in the ribs. He may have a fractured rib. Izuku could barely hear them, like he was underwater. He almost died, and he couldn't get to say goodbye to anyone, and the last thing he could said to Hitoshi was good morning. He nearly lost everything again. He couldn't do anything about it. He would have died instantly. He could feel a panic attack coming on. He needed to get out of here, needed to go somewhere else, needed to get away from the pros. Are you okay? Izuku didn't know who asked that. All he knew is that it sounded like his teachers mockingly asking him if it was okay. He could almost hear Bakugou there, calling him quirkless, freak, a Deku, useless. That's why when someone grabbed his wrist, he freaked out so hard. He stabbed them in the arm and shot a grappling hook out the window, flying through the shattered glass and into the city. Shoto couldn't sleep. He was attending a business trip with his father, and they were attending a pro hero gala the next day. He knew he needed sleep, and the logical part of his brain knew that his father would not have any of it if he fell asleep at the gala. And sitting on the roof at 4 a.m. was not helping his sleep schedule, but he couldn't stop thinking about the vigilante that had quite literally burst into his life through the roof. He knew he should have been focusing on getting into UA, but that random person had somehow figured out that Endeavor was abusive and was taking action against the man. He really should try to sleep, though. Should have turned around to walk down from the roof when he heard feet land on the concrete of the roof. Should have still, door in one hand. He could hear the person breathing from here, heavy and distorted breathing, like it was going through a broken voice changer. At the lack of action from the mystery person, he slowly turned around. He saw a familiar figure in a green hoodie leaning over the railing of the building, looking down at the traffic below. Oracle? He turned around, eyes wide, and slumped against the railing in an Oracle? He turned around, eyes wide, and he slumped against the railing in an upright fetal position. Shota could see the man trembling from over here. The man who went up against Endeavor and made it out a free man was trembling. Are you all right, Oracle? Please, 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 cut, John. It's too hot. It's too hot. It burns so much. Please, stop. He devolved into a distorted, mumbling storm, rubbing his wrists. Shota walked up and knelt down, rapidly decreasing the temperature around them. After a bit, Oracle stopped trembling from fear and more from the cold. Shoto. His voice was... Shoto. His voice was young. And Shoto really realized that his mask had probably stopped working from whatever he just came from before. Hey. It's okay, I won't hurt you. He approached slowly, making his movements slow enough not to be seen and easily reacted to. Finally, he hugged Oracle and patted him in the back. It's all right. You're safe here. Oracle chuckled to himself shakily. I'm glad I ran into you. You're probably the one person who also know what it's like to be burnt by those who should care about us. Shoto hummed in agreement before asking the question that had been on his mind for so long. Are you okay? Oracle gave a shaky, distorted laugh. No, I'm sorry you have to see me like this. You don't have to carry the world on your shoulders, Oracle. You can come to me for help if you need it. Something flashed across Oracle's face and he ducked his head. Um, thanks, Shoto. Um, thanks, Shoto. He squeaked out. I'm gonna go before the heroes find me. Thanks. With that, Oracle broke from the hug and vaulted over the railing. He was an odd guy. Hey, Oracle, what's up? Hitoshi asked through the phone. He had gotten a random call at 4:15 a.m. from Izuku, and he didn't want to assume the worst, but holy shit, Hitoshi, how the fuck am I so gay? You saw Todoroki again? He hugged me, Toshi. Oh my god, I am too gay for this shit. I'll see you in a bit. He hung up immediately after he finished. Hitoshi sighed. How the hell had he gotten into this?
Before I start the next chapter, I want to mention that the last chapter was recorded November 5th, I think it was like November 5th. This part is being recorded January 30th of 2025. It's the first time I've recorded in so long, so forgive me if anything is off. Robert, can I finish the hoodie and the gloves? Now all I need to do are those knives, swords, and other fun gizmos. Izuku sighed into his phone after hearing Mei's report. She called him in the middle of his training with Hitoshi, so he was currently fighting Hitoshi with the phone pressed between his shoulder and head. He sidestepped a punch and brought his knee hard into Hitoshi's stomach. Mei, I told you this. It's a bullet target, not a gizmo. And it's so that the special bullets you're making just track to the target, so I don't have to aim as much. Izuku whined, dodging a few more punches. He rolled under Hitoshi and popped up behind him, kicking him to the ground. He held Hitoshi down, and the haired boy sighed. Is that shit like your signature move, just rolling underneath someone and hitting them in the back? Izuku laughed at the boy's reaction. Yep. Realization dawned on him as he recognized his mistake. Wait, no, no, no. His mind was filled with fog. It was dismissed as soon as it came, though. Oh, fine, you win that one. Robert Gunn, still here. This tired could need any support gear for the entrance exam that he needs. May sounded excited at the opportunity to build some more things. No, May, he's fine. His costume, however, well, I think he knows who to go to for support gear. Hitoshi gave him a half-hearted look of mock fear before standing up and grabbing a water bottle while Izuku finished his call. Oh, but of course, Tyre-kun, do you want knives, guns, cannons, grenades? May, no. No grenades. And Hitoshi doesn't get guns or knives. He isn't sophisticated enough yet, Izuku said in a fake, distinguished voice. I want cat paws with retractable knife claws. Hitoshi deadpanned and May and Izuku started cackling. I'm making that for your costume. You can't stop me, May shouted from the phone. May, no, wait, that's the wild pussycat's gimmick. You can't just steal that, Izuku shouted indignantly, to be met with laughing from Hitoshi and even an evil cackling from May. I can and I will. Copyright laws have never stopped me before. Why should they stop me now? May, that's ill. She hung up on me. Izuku stuffed the phone in his pocket with a huff. She hung up on me, and now she's gonna make you cat paws. Why'd you spur her on to do this, Hitoshi? Why? I need an answer. I wanted in my costume, Hitoshi answered simply. Izuku sighed, facepalming. Why am I friends with you? Gary walked back to the bar with Girin to find Tomura Shigaraki sitting at one of the stools. Sensei had requested Garen for a job, presumably one relating to the raid on UA that would be performing within the next few weeks. Garen sat down, picking up and drinking a shot of whiskey that had been poured before Kurogiri left. The broker placed the shot glass down and lit a cigar. So, what is a group backed by the boogeyman of the underground need little old me for? I need you to get me as many criminals as possible, people who are seeking violence. Doesn't matter how powerful their quirks are, we just need quantity. I have the quality covered. Kurogiri has heard Sensei's voice over and over again, and yet it's still off-putting, and it makes him feel fear, like he's going to be hurt. It's a very primal reaction, and an illogical one at that. Sensei would never hurt him, due to his value and dedication to young Tomura. Yet still, the voice shakes him to the core for a reason he has yet to figure out. You've come to the right man, then. How soon do you need it? As soon as possible. I am sending Tomura into UA on the third day in order to get lesson plans. It should give us a time when All Might is separated from the rest of the school. When that happens, we strike. You can count on me all for one, Garen said as he took another puff of his cigar. Kurogiri opened a portal back to his house, and the broker walked through it casually. After all, he had work to do.
Mouser! Mousy, mousy, mousy! That's why when someone grabbed his wrist, he freaked out so hard. He stabbed them in the arm.
Okay, we're trying this one more time. This is how I record. This is what my old mics sound like. I'm still gonna use them when I record with Jazz and like when I don't feel like setting up my new mic. But I got a new mic and it is so cool. And I want you guys to be the first to um like hear it, and because I haven't even heard it. I think I haven't even heard it, so I am terrified because I'm terrified it's gonna sound like shit. I spent like $60 on it, so it shouldn't sound like shit, but I am terrified that it will. Reasons, yeah. It is 8:44. I have to be up at 3 because I work at 5, so that's fun. Anyway, yeah. Okay, enough babbling. You've heard my voice on this.
And this is how my voice sounds with no mic whatsoever, and it's just my laptop recording, and it's not that good if you can't tell. It is very ungood. And this sounds like with my new mic, and I'm trying to see what these do, see if these do anything. They don't seem to do anything. Yo! I can change the color of the... It is a light up mic, and apparently I can... Oh! I can turn it off. Are you... Boo? Haha. Ah! Yeah, okay.